Today is July the 4th, 2017. I'm Keith Warr, and welcome to another episode of Homeless in Titusville. And today I'm on the road in Cocoa and Cocoa Village, and today I'm coming to you with, what is your name, sir?
William Lee Basinger Jr.
William Lee Basinger Jr. And do you have a nickname that you go by on the streets?
Felix.
Or you go by Felix? Felix, okay. And how old are you, Felix?
I'll be 54 the 20th of this month.
Okay. And how long have you been homeless?
Exact date would be June of 2010.
Okay, so how come you have such a specific date?
It had to do with my wife's death. We went through a very painful emphysema is what she passed away from, and it takes your life slowly. It took her brain. She became childlike, and it was just so heartbreaking that I wanted to take myself out when she passed, and I did not have the guts at that time to do so.
Where were you guys living?
We lived in Pell City, Alabama.
And what was life like? Like, did you have a job? Did she work?
We both worked probably 80, 90 hours a week to put her two boys through college. They were mine by proxy since 13 and 15. And then we were together 15 years, and we put them through school. You know, we did for her boys.
They called you dad or no?
Yes,
yeah.
Dad. Yes.
And so how many years were you married? You were married for 15 or with her for 15?
Physically married 15.
Okay. And how old were the children when you came into the picture?
13 and 15.
Oh, 13, 15. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's quite right.
Okay. So you guys made your home in Alabama. That's where your primary home was?
Yes, that was our home.
And how about other people, like your parents, her parents, aunts, uncles, cousins?
I come from like a really large family. There's 10 siblings on my father's side, and then 2 on my mother's side. So I have 40, 50 cousins, and cousins twice removed. I have a huge family.
Right. So tell me, about your life then. Like, what kind of work have you done in your life?
I was, my first job was as a printer. I printed for like 13 years of my life, and I didn't see the sign on the wall about computers coming and computers basically taking the money. I used to make $45 an hour as a graphic artist. You assemble everything by hand, and then computers come on the scene, and that started dwindling down because they became more powerful and more powerful.
And people were able to do it more themselves and quicker.
And the people that they could hire were 18-year-old snot-nosed children that could type it out on a keyboard well faster than I could put together a magazine by hand. That's quite labor intensive in those days. And then the computer just took that over, and too little too late, I realized I should have got into the computer end of it when the computers came on the scene, and say 84, 85, they started becoming powerful enough to do that kind of work, because it's very accurate work.
So what was your life like back then? Like, did you have a large house, a small home? Did you have large, collection of cars, high-end stuff?
A car enthusiast, yeah.
You were?
I didn't collect high-end cars, but I went for, like, cars that were cool. Fastback Mustangs, Maverick Grappler.
And you owned these things
yes,
at the time?
I owned these things, yes. I had, at one point, probably 25 cars. That was my hobby. That and guns. I loved guns, yeah.
So you had it all, so to speak, as most people talk about.
As a younger man, I had everything that I wanted. I worked for it.
Right.
Everything that that was passionate to me, I was able to purchase because I made a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money.
So what was your childhood like? Did you come from money? Did you come from parents that were poor? Like, what was your childhood like? Where did you grow up?
Basically, service brat. I moved around a lot. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany. I've lived in Nuremberg, Germany. I've lived in Darmstadt, Germany. Mostly the first 11 years of my life, I was in Germany, except my dad was in Vietnam twice. So those years we came home and lived with my grandparents for 2 of those years. So pretty much 9 years of my life I was spent in Germany.
So do you speak German fluently?
No. That was.
So you went to school on the base,
On
and
base, yes.
and
All
everything in
posted.
English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Had you thought about joining the military yourself, or are you a veteran?
I actually tried to join the military when I was, I think, 19, but I had a pot charge, and that's when the military was only the best. And so a pot charge was something.
It kind of disqualified you,
Not actually.
or made it a little tougher.
Tougher. I actually was sworn in to the United States Army, and then the day I was supposed to ship out, the recruiter tells me that she didn't get the proper waiver on the pot charge, so we're going to have to start the process again. So I just said I chucked it and I'll just go to work because I worked since I was
Yeah, just a
Well,
kind of a different path. Understandable.
Yeah, I just changed my path.
Understandable. So you don't have any biological children yourself?
None myself.
No.
One possible, but
Impossible. Yeah.
that's
Right. What do you call home? Like, where is your, in your heart, or where did you grow up? Like, do you consider Germany your home? Is there a place in the U.S. that you consider home?
if I had to actually consider home, every time I ride back into Birmingham, I get that giddy feeling that is my home.
That's your home. That's your home. So what is life like on the streets right now being homeless? Where are you sleeping? Do you have a tent?
Well, I had a tent in a specific area of Cocoa, and they put a blanket trespass, and then they physically come out one by one and caught us all out there at different times and wrote us the green paper. Next time we see you here, you go to jail, kind of trespass. So they made me homeless because it was my home.
We all have to exist somewhere. We all have to have land beneath our feet,
Yes.
regardless of whether we own it or not. We can't levitate or hover or.
I cannot simply blink myself out of existence. I do still exist.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I could, I guess, take my life, and that might make some happy because it appears that
Because sometimes people consider people that are homeless to be garbage or trash, or you're
Trash,
somehow a
garbage.
throwaway person.
I
Do you feel like a throwaway person?
feel like I'm marginalized. I feel like I'm just out there on the edges of society, and they just tolerate me. Tolerate me.
So do you feel most people care, or they don't care, or?
If I had to put a ratio on it, I'd say there's 80% care and 20% that just would rather not see you standing there.
So tell me about some of the things that you do to feed yourself. Do you receive food stamps? Do you get any kind of government help, food stamp, or other than food stamps like welfare or Social Security?
I receive no income like that. Albeit I am disabled, I don't receive anything like that.
And what kind of disability do you have?
In 2006, I fell 3 stories, broke my neck, broke my back, crushed disc, I completely destroyed myself. Spent 30-something days in the hospital, spent 12 weeks in the collar, and the repercussions from that are getting stronger. Like my leg, this leg just doesn't operate sometimes. In fact, I don't mean to elaborate too far, but
Yeah, go
interesting
ahead.
story. Just the other day, I was walking and this leg just stops, and a policeman just happened to be driving by. I'm walking across a business driveway, and the leg just stops. Just literally, it's like it's not there. And he pulls in, he's like, well, I smell alcohol, you're drunk. I'm like, well, officer, yes, I've had a few, but I assure you I'm not drunk. If you'll help me to that bench, I'll just sit down and it'll go away. It'll come back. And he's like, he wasn't having none of that. He's like, you're a danger to yourself. We're going to Baker Act you put into the COC facility, which I didn't want. I didn't need that, I didn't want that. But he had his mind made up because he smelled alcohol on my breath that I was drunk. And I've been sloppy, but I've never been where my leg just didn't work in any other, that kind of circumstance.
Right. So what kinds of things do you do or have you done to earn money?
To earn money, I mostly just sit with a sign. If someone comes by and offers work that I can handle, I can still. My second part of my life, I was a painter, painter, and I can still paint. I can't like climb ladders with 5-gallon buckets of paint anymore. I can't do that kind of thing. But as far as like painting and slinging a brush, I'm pretty good at that too.
So you told me too, you're around a lot of prostitutes and things like that, and you said that you at one point went there. How long was this? A couple of times? You did this for a year, a couple months?
I don't understand the question.
Being a prostitute yourself?
Oh, in Birmingham, I actually prostituted myself out as a male prostitute, 2 males, and
a couple of times for weeks, months?
No, just like a couple of times when I was really fresh out on the streets, trying to figure out how do you survive on the streets. Because I stayed in some of the Salvation Armies and Jimmy Hale Mission. That's a couple of names of places in Birmingham. The Firehouse Shelter. And I found out that those places, to stay inside of those places, is you might as well be in prison. In my mind, I've never been in prison, but that's what I feel like it's like. I mean, if you leave your shoes while you try to take a shower, your shoes will be gone. Your pants. I got out of the shower with, I thought where my clothes were in plain sight, and evidently that's when I wasn't paying enough attention, and now I'm naked with no clothes, standing there and have to, ask someone, can you please find me something to put on? Because, and they don't care, they're not going to go searching and looking for your stuff.
But of all things, though, how did you come to the decision of prostitution? Did somebody suggest it to you? Did you see it on TV?
There was a lot of, in Birmingham, heroin is rampant, and we call them little dope boys. They're, I would say, mostly in the age of 17 to 25 is what I would call a little dope boy. And they're like, well, man, if you get your dick sucked, you can make $40. And I'm like, really? And so I just did it.
Wow. I mean, I don't think most of us could really.
I hope I'm not being too.
No. Hey, listen. I appreciate you sharing your truth. And some of the realities of homelessness. Behind us, today is the 4th of July, and if people can see behind us, we have families and children here, kids playing, and right underneath their noses is a guy who's homeless, and they're having a good time, and we're talking about real gritty, tough things, real serious subjects, and, other things that are around us. We have boats and things. There seems to be quite a bit of money here in this town, and
it's a picturesque kind of
right thing. And here they are with all this money in this town, and people seem like all is well. It's a utopian society, but yet there's still homelessness.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you see as a way to not be homeless? How do you think this is all going to come to an end?
I have a lot of time to pontificate and just I don't know. I've tried the rehab things. I've put clean time together. I had a year at one point, and
So you have a substance issue. What is the substance that you're struggling with?
I don't label myself that way.
Okay.
Because if I so choose not to, then I don't. I drink merely out of a lot of times boredom, just because I'm simply bored.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm by myself. I'm twiddling my thumbs. And it's like, well, drink today or don't drink today. And most times I choose to drink. Although there's days that I just say, no, I don't want to. And I come actually to this spot and sit right here and just kind of woosah, get some peace of mind. And so I'm able to do that
Well,
sometimes.
what's a typical day for you? Like, take us through your day. What do you do?
Typical day, I wake up
Around what time?
3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm an early riser, always have been.
Okay.
Sit there, and a lot of times those are the times where my mind is not running. I have psych issues, they say, but I've thrown away all those medicines because I've taken them for more than 2 years in a row. And
Well, what kind of things were you diagnosed with?
personality disorder, borderline schizophrenia, and I think that comes to do with separating myself from myself. Felix becoming separate from William, because Felix is able to deal with it better than as William, because William is the one who's always had the job, always had the paycheck, always paid the bills, and not being able to do that is what maybe makes me have these issues in my mind. And Felix is just like, well, you live in a beach town, just have no worries.
So you're up at 3 or 4, and then what? Do you eat breakfast or like?
I generally don't eat, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Sometimes if I have a snack bar, I'll eat a snack bar. I'll just sit and really just wait on the sun to come up.
So is there somewhere that you go to take a shower? Are there any church groups that come by and give you things? Do you go to the library? Do you go to the churches?
I'm not one of the library people.
Okay.
There's quite a few of those out that
Spend the day at the library in the air conditioning and on the
air
computer.
conditioning, yeah, because, well, I don't mean to sound crass, but they just simply can't cut being in the sun the whole day through.
But you have some consequences from being in the sun, don't you?
I do. I have on my head. That's the doctors tell me that's I can't think of the name of it, but it's beginnings of skin cancer from sitting in the sun all day long.
And how do you get your health care? Do you have some of this as people know it to be Obamacare? Because I would think if anyone qualifies, it would be somebody like yourself.
Well, that's I'm very not political.
Yeah, right.
But the Obamacare, when it come out, is you have to do this. You have to carry this insurance. It's going to be a mandated law that you.
But how do you see a doctor? How do you get health care?
I have 2 things on my side. An emergency room cannot not see you if you have a true medical emergency or issue, and that's how I get my health care. If I have something like I've had a couple of bad spider bites, living under the trees, and they have to see you. I guess that's one good thing that's still around.
So, how about your family? Does your family know that you're homeless and on the street?
Pretty much, most of my family, all my aunts, uncles, father, mother, grandparents, they're all deceased. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and they know that I'm on the streets, but they have no real idea what that actually means, or they can't really understand. But you're Billy. That's what they call me. You're Billy. You've always had. You've put us up when we needed help, and I'm thinking, yeah. But that they can't seem to draw that conclusion that maybe they just give me just a little help, that maybe I might could stand up and be William again.
Wow. So do you have a desire? Would you like me to reach out to them and at least show them this video? And if so, like, do you have anything that you'd like to tell the camera to say to them? Pretend this is them. What would you say to them? What would you want them to know?
Allison, Renee, Chris, I love y'all dearly. All of the crap that's in our past over our parents' death, estate, all that, I care nothing about that. That means nothing to me. I love y'all. Y'all are kind of my strength at times, believe that or not.
Okay, so how could they get a hold of you? How could they reach you? If they were going to help you, what could they do? How could they? Would you want them to contact me and me to get a hold? Do you have an Obama phone?
I don't have an Obama phone. Again, it's the government thing.
Right.
Well, that's another issue. Maybe we'll have a moment to go into it. I don't appreciate the government, because my father died from Agent Orange related death. They paid me and my 3 siblings a $463 benefit out of a 22 plus or maybe $220 billion settlement for the families. So my father's death to the government, after he went, and he didn't even have to go to Vietnam. He was the old soldier. $463 is the value they put on his life. So I don't have a
lot of faith in the government.
Very well put. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So let's touch on that a little bit. Are you convicted felon?
No.
So you're eligible to vote.
Yes.
And have you voted in the past election?
Yes.
And you don't have to tell me either way you went.
Registered voter. Yes,
so,
I am.
and you
I am
did
one
vote?
of the very few homeless that is. And yes, I voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. Well, you didn't have to share your vote, but hey, that's cool.
That's fine.
How about religion? Are you? Do you believe in God? Are you a church-going guy?
I believe in spirituality, and I believe that there's more than we know that we can't touch. But as far as the churches,
so no organized religion. You're
organized
not.
Religion,
you don't call yourself a Baptist or whatever.
No.
So you have some kind of a belief, but you don't put yourself in any kind of house of worship like a Catholic or a Baptist or whatever.
No. And I mean, I'm starting to sound a little negative here, but I have been in some of the rehab ministries, and I find that the rehab ministries, they essentially, let's not say slave labor, because they do provide you a house. Most of them you have to provide your own food, but they work you for whatever purpose furthers their purpose. And to me, that's just, I don't know, maybe I think I was born with a good sense of right and wrong, and to me, that that's trying to come from this to, help themselves, and then if you're not willing to follow the course that they want, just a quick for instance, I was working for one, I won't name them, that I was their driver. I had a license at that time. I was their driver. I did all the errands. I drove their furniture truck. I picked up the furniture. I made sure all the men got to their doctor's appointments. I did all of this for $10 a week gratuity.
Wow.
We went and remodeled the pastor's church, like 80% destroyed from termites. Remodeled the pastor's church, and it was a dual pastorship. The female pastor got up in church after we had made quite a lot of repairs on the church, and she said that we would like to give a love offering, and the pastor that was directly in charge of my ministry. He's like, no, these guys, they don't need no love offering. And I wanted to puke. I wanted to retch. And that was the end of that. That was just like used, just straight used. This is not any of that made up.
So listen, we're about to wrap up here,
All
but
right.
is there anything else that you would like people to know about yourself or being homeless? Is there anything we left out?
In general, I will keep on existing, I guess, as long as this body holds up, and then I'll move on to another place or I'll become worm food, and that's pretty much the sum of it all.
Wow. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you taking a minute and let us get to know you, and we hope, better things are ahead for you and all that. So,
Well, I appreciate you talking to me. I enjoy being able to maybe open one eye. If I can get two people to think, then maybe some wheels of change may occur.
right.
That people can get a better understanding that we're not just these people who I just chose to just be a drug addict. I just chose
Because
to be
nobody
this
would
way.
choose this, I don't believe.
I didn't want to choose this, no, and I did make bad choices. I shouldn't have thrown away. I gave away a car, a nice truck, Mercury Mountaineer, and a nice double wide trailer. Just gave it away because I no longer.
And now you find yourself, you're the one in need,
Yeah, I'm the one.
and you need somebody to do that same favor for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And without the strings attached, let me be me. Let me blossom as me, and you'll find a pretty decent guy underneath this homeless exterior.
Wow. All right, man. Well, thanks for watching.